Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome. If you are not new, then welcome back. So, for those of you who are new, my name is Mystical Essence. I am a tarot card reader, oracle card reader, astrologer, and spiritual mentor slash teacher. My goal, my mission, my purpose is to help empower people. So I want to see you guys empowered. I want to see you step into your own power. I feel like we all come here with our own set of gifts, our own set of abilities, and our own personal power. And sometimes stepping into that can be a challenge, especially when we lose our sense of direction. So, I love to provide insights, tools, tips, guidance on how you can step into your own power. So, we are going to talk about this lunar eclipse and full moon that is occurring in the sign of Taurus, I believe, in tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'm a little late getting this done. I apologize. So we're gonna, my guides really kind of want me to stay into the magical side of things. We will talk about some of the energies around this, but they want me to keep it towards magical stuff. So if you are a witch and you are wanting to know what things can be done with this full moon or this lunar eclipse or how you can utilize these energies, this will be the video you want to watch. We'll talk about the aspects going around and what they are good for and not good for, magically speaking. And we'll talk about some of the energies that are floating around with this full moon. So, to begin with, I'm going to pull up the chart and we're going to jump into this. So, this is the chart of the full moon. That is coming up. You can see we have the moon here, the sun here, and then we have the lunar nodes there. So that's an indication of an eclipse when you have the moon that close to the nodes, or even the sun. If a sun is close to the node or the moon is close to a node, that is an indication of an eclipse. So I was born on a Taurus full moon lunar eclipse. So this energy is pretty, the next sets of eclipses that occur in Taurus and Scorpio are going to be pretty significant for me. If you have a moon in Taurus, if you have a sun in Taurus, if you have an ascendant in Taurus, these could be significant for you as well. Or if you have a sun in Scorpio, a moon in Scorpio, or an ascendant in Scorpio, or you have a lot of planets in either one of those signs as well. This could be the next 2 years, could be a time of significant changes and transformations for you as well. So what I want to get into is just the energies of this full moon. So we have a lot of energies going on. So whenever I look at the energies around the full moon, I look at the overall energies. So I look at just strictly the planets. So I look at the sun, the moon, Mars, Venus, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So we have Jupiter and Saturn in air. We have Venus, Pluto, the moon, and Uranus and Earth. And we have the sun, Mercury, Mars, and Neptune in water. So we have very, very little fire energy with this full moon, meaning you guys might feel it. You might feel, so fire governs our energy, our physical energy, our motivation, our drives. So to get up and go, maybe like people may just be lacking a lot of motivation, a lot of inspiration, a lot of get up and go, like their energy just may be zapped. And that's been a theme for the past couple full moons, I feel like. There hasn't been a lot of fire lingering around lately. So this is just a time of year where, because of the placements, that people just aren't feeling the fire lately. But we do have some air floating around with this full moon, so there are some ideas, some thoughts and communication going on. There is some mental activity going on with this full moon, but most of the energies of this full moon is in earth and water signs. So we have 40% of the planets in earth and we have 40% of the planets in water. So 40% of the energy of this full moon's energy is earth energy, and 40% of this energy is, so it's about 50-50 of water energy, right? And we have 20% that is air. So when you think about that, there's a lot of energy around earth and a lot of energy around water. So this is a good time to work with psychic senses, divination, um, emotional stuff. um, Yeah, water rules our emotional body, so it's a good time to work with emotions and emotional stuff, or even psychic stuff, spiritual stuff, your spirituality, your ability to see beyond things. So if you have any like psychic senses, doing divination, doing scrying, doing stuff like that is definitely there's a lot of that energy around to do that kind of stuff. Now, whether this is conductive and good to do during this time, we'll get into in a minute. We also have a lot of earth energies, so this is a good time to really ground yourself to connect with earth. So we can connect with our emotions fairly easily right now. We can also connect with earth energies fairly easily. So grounding yourself, getting out and connecting with the physical world around you, it's also a good time to do works in regards to the physical world around you and even your own physical body. Okay. So if you find, maybe you want to do a health spell or something like that, or start some new regime or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of energies conducive to that as well. There's a lot of earth energy. So, earth energy allows us to bring things into physical manifestation. Water energy allows us to kind of dream things up, tap into our imagination, tap into our spirituality, really feel the things that we want to bring into existence. With these, with 80% of the energies being in earth and water, that tells me that there is a lot of feminine energy around this moon. So it's a good time to tap into your inner feminine. If you are feeling disconnected from that, it's a good time to connect with it. Even if you don't feel disconnected from it, it's still a good time to connect with it, to check in with your inner feminine, to find out what they need. Okay. Because we all have masculine and feminine sides to us. Okay, so as far as magic wise going, it's a good time to balance ourselves. Like I said, we have an opposition going from the sun into the moon. The sun and the moon are the planets that connect to us individually. That is why the sun rules Leo and the moon rules Cancer, and they are individual. They only rule one sign because they have to do with ourselves as an individual. These are the two planets that make up an individual. So, the moon is the inner part of us, and the sun is the expressive, the masculine part of us, the part that we kind of show to the world or let be seen. And the moon is the inner part of us, and the feminine part of us, the side that we kind of keep away, tucked away in the dark that people don't see. So it's a good time to balance ourselves. During a full moon, it's always a good time to balance yourself, to check in with yourself and see where you're out of balance. Right now, we have the moon in feminine signs, so that is a good time to check in with yourself as to where maybe your divine feminine is out of balance. Make sure, like I said, check in with her, make sure she's all in balance. If there's something you can do to help balance her out, if she's out of balance in some way, now is a good time to do the work to rebalance that. Okay. It is also a good time to do work around rebalancing where you're giving away stuff and where you're holding on to stuff. Are you holding on to things too much and not releasing stuff enough, or are you releasing too much, giving stuff away, and not holding on to things enough? Again, these can affect you personally as well, right? In terms of your emotions, are you not expressing them enough? Are you holding on to them too much? Um, or are you showing them? Are you maybe lashing out too much emotionally and not kind of refraining, grounding yourself? Are your emotions overrunning you and you're not necessarily grounding yourself enough? Okay. So those are a few things that you can check in with this full moon and do some work to kind of check in with. You can do some divination work, because like I said, there is a lot of energies going around introspection. So doing divination work and looking within yourself, there is a lot of water energy. So it is a good time to do that sort of work. What else do we got going on? We have an opposition with the moon and Mercury, which could cause an opposition between your logical, rational mind and your deeper inner mind. So the moon is the deeper parts of our mind. That's why it's linked to our subconscious, because it is the deep parts of our mind that maybe we're not aware of. Mercury is our conscious, everyday mind. It is very much the mind that we are aware of. So making sure now is a good time to bring our subconscious mind and our conscious mind into balance. So you can do workings around that as well, bringing those two back into balance, or even just do a divination, pull some cards, or do some scrying or something, ask your guides, do some meditation, whatever the case may be, on maybe if these things are out of balance. So during a full moon, if anything is out of balance, you will notice it. So if anything comes up in regards to overthinking things or holding in emotions or not expressing things, that is the universe telling you this is out of balance. You need to fix it. So whatever comes up that way, make sure that you pay attention to it, because it's out of balance, and using the full moon's energies to rebalance it is a good thing. Okay. Um, what else do we got going on here? We have a square with Jupiter. Greed could be an issue. Um, I feel like a lot of us naturally right now want to hold on to what we have and we don't want to share it, or this full moon could bring out where we're being greedy and where we need to reach past beyond that to solve that problem. Um, I do think I'm going to say, when it comes to doing spell work, do not do any type of abundance work. I would not do any type of abundance work in regards to pulling things in, because the moon pulls things in, Jupiter expands it, and they're not working well together right now. So it's like asking two enemies to get together and work together. Chances are, I mean, if they can overcome their differences, they could do it, but chances are there's going to be a lot of conflict in the process of it. So I would say stay away from any type of abundance work this full moon, because if you try to do it, it could lead to, like I said, obsessive greediness, or wanting things that maybe you don't necessarily need and that other people could use instead of yourself. Um, it could end up backfiring on you as well, and you get an over excessive amounts of it, and then you just don't know what to do with it. It just could backfire in so many different ways that it's probably better to stay away from it. Um, these are challenging energies. We have Jupiter in an Aquarius, which is like give to humanity, right? Give to those who are less fortunate than yourself. Share, Aquarius is the humanitarian, and then we have the moon in in Taurus, which is very much about holding on to things, taking things in for yourself, acquiring things for yourself. So there is this part of you wants to pull things in for yourself, and then the other part of you is like, no, I should give it away, I need to give it to, and it causes a huge conflict within yourself, right? And that can be conflicting. Even when you look at these planets as entities, right? The moon wants to give, it wants to nurture, it wants to share, and Jupiter is like abundance, abundance, and it gives too. But these two planets aren't working well together. There is a tension. So if you were to take these two people, even though they have similar personalities, and put them into a room, there's going to be tension. So working with these two energies to expand things within yourself or expand things within your environment isn't a good idea right now. They're not working well together. You're probably more conducive to um, working with these energies when they're working better together. Okay. But they can point out as well where you're being greedy, right? Where pay attention to that if it does come up this full moon, because there is a chance that, it might come up that you are being greedy and excessive about things and that you really don't need the things you're asking for, which is why, like I said, if you do an abundance spell, it could backfire or could not work at all because you don't need the things you are asking for. You're asking them for them because you want them and there's this desire for excess right now. So be careful about that. Like I said, I wouldn't do any type of abundance work right now. It's not very conducive. The energies aren't very conducive for that. Um, Even though we have a lot of feminine energy going around, which is, drawing things in and attracting things, I feel like, this could lead to greed. And again, if greed is coming up, expect that to come up. If there are challenges and problems around that, they are going to come up this full moon. And it's a good time to use the lunar energies to kind of work through those and process them. Okay. We also have a trine with Pluto, so it is a good time to do um any type. So you can see the moon is here in Taurus and Pluto is here in Capricorn. So it's a good time to do magic to connect with family that's past, ancestors, that kind of thing. It is a good time to do any type of past life work. The moon has to do with your past and where you come from, and so does Pluto. So it's a good time to do, and the earth has to do with the lives that you've lived. So it's a good time to do past life work. There's a very good flow of energy for that right now. But just it's also a good time to learn how to use and to do workings using emotional energies to manifest things. Okay. So when you're doing your workings, whatever type of magical workings you do, you want to make sure that there's emotional energies used, because these emotional energies are going to be what manifests the physical stuff. You also want to make sure to check your emotions before you do anything, because like I said, Jupiter is there with the squaring the moon, so it is quite easy for us to get overwhelmed and overwhelmed by our emotions right now, and not in a good way, right? Our emotions aren't making us. Jupiter's expanding all of our negative emotions maybe. So it is a good time also to work through any negative emotions that may be coming up. If they do come up, if they don't, then don't work through them. And that may mean that you just have no issues around that. Yes, Pluto is a good time to do any type of past life work. To connect with ancestors, to connect with even yourself in the past, and work with that kind of energy. It's a good time to release any type of emotions that maybe you have been holding on to. Sorry, my nose is itchy. To do any type of emotional release or transformation work as well. It's a really good time to do that. We also have the moon here in Taurus conjuncting with the nodes. So the North Node here in Gemini. So that provides insight and guidance into where you need to be moving forward to. So it is a good time to do not work on like I almost want to say it would be a good time to connect with like future selves if you're into that kind of thing. But I also feel like it's a good time to connect with your intuition in the deeper parts of yourself to get answers and guides. Like, I almost feel like the way that my guides were saying this was your north node is like your guides. So I feel like sometimes we can learn more about our guides that way through looking at the nodes and that kind of thing. But the way that they were showing it to me was like angels helping guide you, like guardian angels. And I know that's going to sound really weird, but that was the image that was put into my mind when I was focusing on this energy earlier. It was like now's a good time to connect with your own inner guidance, whether it's God, whether it's whether it's angels, whether it's your higher self, your spiritual team. It's a good time to connect with them to get guidance on where you need to be heading in your life. What direction personally with your life purpose do you need to be going towards right now? With the nodes in Sagittarius and Gemini, with the North Node being in Gemini, it's a good time to ask, like, what do I need to be learning? Um, what information do I need to be taking in? What do I need to be learning and studying? That kind of thing to find my life purpose. You know, what is it that I need to be learning to fulfill my purpose? You can also ask about your life purpose in general, like where do you need to be heading towards? Right. And then we also doing divination work around that, doing divination work around asking and getting insight into where you are heading, right? We also have the South Node opposite the moon, so it's also a good time to look into how you can balance your past with your future, how you can balance the past and the future, where the past doesn't hold you back so that you can move on to the future. Maybe you're too future oriented because the North Node is very much the future. It's the direction you're supposed to be heading in, right? And then South Node is where you come from. Well, with the moon, um, opposite the South Node, it's like you can gain insight into almost your past and maybe how you can balance and utilize energies from the past to help you kind of move forward, right? It's a good time to gain insight into how you can balance energies from the past. So sometimes energies can keep us stuck, right? It's a good time to do divination work on maybe how we can balance those energies from the past so that we can better move forward, right? So I feel like a lot of this full moon is a good time for introspection, for divination work, right? Looking into how we can balance ourselves, how we can balance our feminine energy within ourselves, how we can balance our need to give as opposed to our need to receive. Um, doing divination on our inner feminine, right? And how we can balance that out. Doing divination on where we're maybe giving away things or holding on to things too much and how we can balance that out. Doing divination on, our subconscious mind and our conscious mind and how we can balance our subconscious mind with our conscious mind. I'm looking for answers on that. Um, it's a good time to do divination on where you're kind of heading, spiritually speaking, what is ahead on your spiritual path, and what you need to be doing to get there. It is a good time to do some divination work on how you can utilize your past lives and energies that you've come into that you carried with you from the past in order to help you move forward, what you need to do to kind of balance that energy out. So a lot, like I said, a lot of divination work, a lot of internal work. It is also a good time to do spells, rituals, or workings around releasing any emotional stuff that you may have been holding on to. It's a good time to do divination work on how to utilize your emotions and use them or transform them into a positive way. It's a good time to do spell work, to connect with family members, to do rituals to connect with ancestors, loved ones who have passed on, or even just to connect to past versions of yourself as well, so past lives. And it's a good time to do any type of past life work. Not a good time to do abundance work, although it is a good time to look at maybe where you have an excess of things that you can work through, or maybe where your need for things has become excessive, meaning where you're greedy and working through that. Um, and how you can kind of overcome that tendency to be greedy, because I feel like that's definitely an energy. Not everybody is going to need to look into all of these things, but these are definitely, if you're out of balance feminine wise, if your body or your inner nature is out of balance, that will come up. If you're personally out of balance this full moon, that will come up. If you are out of balance in the energies that you give versus the energies that you receive, that will come up. If you are out of balance in your rational mind versus your subconscious mind, that will come up. There will be things that pop up. You'll know, right? And then you can do the divination work into how you can balance that out. If you have issues with greed and excess, that will come up this full moon. Um, if you want to travel into past lives and connect with ancestors or connect with your past lives and your past selves, that is an ideal thing to do this full moon, because we have so much energy around that that's conducive to that. Um, and finding out about how you can utilize what you've brought in from the past to kind of move forward and what you're moving forward to. If you are using things from the past in the wrong way, if the past is imbalanced, if things from the past aren't let go of that need to be let go of and released or healed or transformed, that will come up. So there may be things from the past that are causing imbalances. If there are things from the past that are causing imbalances, that will come up this full moon. Um, so just keep conscious of that kind of stuff. And I think that is really all I've got to say about this full moon. Sorry if I was like looking away from the camera for most of this. My laptop is over this way and the camera is right in front of me. So yeah, it's a very good time to do any type of past life work or past life regression or ancestral work and heritage work. Um, it is also a really good time to learn how to use your emotions to create things or to manifest things and to put your emotional energy into that. It's a good time to release any type of emotions that have been holding you back, because those energies are flowing, or transform them. Not really a good time to do abundance work, but definitely a good time to do inner work and intuition, um, balancing work for anything that comes out and that may come up imbalanced or that you feel is imbalanced. It's a good time to do any type of balancing work that way, as far as like your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, your inner self and your outer self, keeping yourself balanced, particularly in regards to your feminine energy and your divine feminine, as well as what you give versus what you receive, and making sure that you are getting that equal balance for things and you aren't over giving or you aren't holding on to things too much. any type of abundance work, stay away from, but issues with greed may come up, and that is to help you work through them. It could be challenging to work through this, but understand that it is coming up for a reason. So I hope you guys all have an awesome, awesome full moon and lunar eclipse. Um, and I hope that this has given you some insights into what kind of work is good to do with this full moon. And I hope you guys all have an amazing eclipse and full moon, and I will see you all later. Bye, guys.